PHP tutorial. Welcome to this particular tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to discuss about PHP arrays. So array is one of the principles that PHP is built on, and therefore there is need for as a web developer to know how an array can be used in your application or in your website. Now we are going to look at two types of arrays. We are going to talk about this one-dimensional array, and then we talk about multiple dimensional arrays. So we are just going to discuss this, and then we are going to have examples, and then you can be able to be comfortable in that particular space. Now, what is an array? An array basically is just a data structure that store multiple homogeneous, the key word here is homogeneous, stores homogeneous values in a single variable. Now, when you talk about homogeneous, basically you mean the data that exists in the same form. So you talk of string, you talk of numbers. So for example, you are dealing with marks of students, or maybe you are talking about the names of people. That is what you call homogeneous. You group data that have the similar form into a single variable. So in this case, you're going to create a variable, and then you will be able to store those values in that particular case. Now, how does these values associated? Okay, so we associate the values that you are going to store in your array by use of what we call the keys. So a key is the one that can be able to help us to identify a value in an array. Now, there are two types of an array. We have got what we call the number array, and then we have got what we call associative array. When you talk about the number array, the index in this case is a number. So in this case, the index is a number. But when you talk about associative array, the index of the key is a string. Okay. So those are the two types of arrays that we do have. Two forms of array, two forms of array. So we have got what we call the numeric array, whereby the index is a number, and then we talk about associative, where the index is a string. Now, when you talk about the number array, basically in this case, the number array that the default or the beginning number is supposed to be 0. So the first item in your array is supposed to be given a value of 0. So for example, here we have got two types of numeric arrays. We have what we call the implicit assigned index, and then we have what we call explicit assigned index. So what do we mean by implicit? It means that in this case, the program itself gives the index. The program gives the index to those values. And therefore, we have said earlier that the values that are going to be given the indexes start from 0 going further. Now, when you come to explicit, you realize that in this case, you are supposed to give the exact number of that particular value. Remember, we also need to start manually from 0 as we go up. So this is an example of an implicit array. So this you can see we just have dairy, and then we have got the array, and then you can be able to see that we are just stating the values. So by default, that the program will just be able to know that yogurt is 0, ice cream is 1, and cheesecake is 2. So that's how it will be able to assign those indexes to those values. Now, when you talk about explicit, in this case, you're supposed to give specifically the index and the value. So you can see here we are having the dairy, the $ dairy. Okay. So we said that how you can be able to define a variable. So if you missed that video, go to my description section. You'll be able to see that video there, so that you can go to learn more variables. But we said that a variable is supposed to start with a $sign. So this is a $sign, and then followed by the index, which is 0, and then you have the value that has been assigned to that particular index. Now, how do you get values from the numeric array? How do you get values from the numeric array? Now, we have already seen this is just a program, but I can copy this program. I just want to copy this program. You can as well be able to get this program from the description section. I'll be able to post these slides in the description section. So I'm just going to paste that code here. I'm going to paste this code in this particular space here. So I just want to get rid of this because I have it here. So make sure that I get rid of that, and I also get rid of that. Why am I pasting it here? Because I want us to see how this particular program will be able to be executed. So just to make sure that everything is okay, just want to make sure that everything is indexed and everything is okay, like that. I think I can use that, like that. Okay. Then you can say, now we have talked about the numeric array, and then we have said that when you talk about the numeric array, there is what we call implicit type, index assigned. So in this case, you can see this is an implicit index assigned, this one, because you can see there is zero, there is no specific values that have been written here. It's just like it is going to be given automatically by the application. Now, how do you assign values, or how do you access the values by their indexes? So it's very simple. Now, in order for you to do that, you need just to use the variable, the array name, and then you need to use the square bracket, and then inside the square bracket, you write the index of that particular value. Now, if I say 0, automatically it is going to call yogurt. Yeah. So if I use the word echo, echo basically is a key term, or is a keyword that is used to display values. So in case I want to display value, I just use the word echo. So echo will help me to display the value that I want. So in this case, I just want to make sure that I to eat yogurt, and then there is that dot. So these dots that are here, this dot and this dot, they are just meant for concatenation. What are we doing in this case? We are connecting the first string with this particular string. So we are connecting this I to eat yogurt, then comma, then you're supposed to concatenate again with the second one. Yeah. So after you are done up to the end, you'll be able to see an exclamation mark is placed in that particular location. So if I'm going to execute this, you realize that it is going to give me what? It is going to give me all the values at the top. Now, the next thing to do is to return how many values are there in your array. So in order for you to return how many values are there in your array, you just apply count. So count is a function that has been built in PHP that enable you to return the number of elements that have been used in your array. Now, if I say count, automatically it is going to give me a value of 3. So meaning we have got 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah. So those are the values that we do have. Then the next thing that we want to do is that every time you talk about a one-dimensional array, you are supposed to use what you call a for loop. So a for loop is just a manner in which it allows you to iterate or to be able to go through your numeric array. Yeah. So if I want to go and display each and every value on its own, if I want to run this particular program and display the value one by one, I can be able to have what we call the for loop. So the for loop here is going to start from 0 because we have said that the index is starting from 0, and then we are going to give it, it is going to run up to the array count. Array count, remember we have already given the array count here. So the value that is going to be assigned to this variable or this particular variable here, it will be 3. So it is going to say I is less than 3, and then you increment I. So after doing that, you just come here, you echo. Echo basically, I've said, is used to display, and then we are going to display each and every value. That is the loop. So after it has displayed the first one, it will go back until the last item, and then it just stop. So this break that is here is just to ensure that each particular value will appear on each particular line. Now I want to try to run this program, and then we see how it is going to appear. So we are using VS Code. So I've written this program in the VS Code. You can see this is VS Code. So you can be able to see the program on your screen. So you can be able to type it. You can pause the video and type it. But there are some few errors that I want to get rid of. So I need to get rid of this error here. So I think there is an error here. So I just need to get rid of that. I think the error has disappeared. The same, I need to get rid of this error here. So make sure you use double quotation. So make sure you use double quotation for your program. Double quotation. Then this is just supposed to be script. No, there's nothing like that. So you just need to get rid of okay, and then I also need to get rid of this hyphen down here. So you can see that values are very much okay. There's no way it has been underlined. I think there is an underline here. So I just want to make sure that my code is up and running before I execute. So there's just a problem with these quotations. So you can see it has also disappeared. So here HTML is well closed, and then this program is ready for execution. So I just save this, and then I go to my browser. Remember, I have my web server running already. So you can see my web server running here. So if you missed the video on what you need to run a PHP script, the link is in the description section. Kindly go to that video and check how you can go to run your first PHP script. So the next thing to do in this case is just to go to your web browser, and then in the web browser you just need to refresh. So you can see there is a parse error. So you can see there is a parse error. They are telling us that the syntax error, unexpected token dot expecting comma, or that's the semicolon. So in line 11. So I go back again. So the error is in this particular line 11. Line 11 has got an error. So there is an error here. So let me just try to apply the correct quotations, and then I do. You can see it is now okay. So I just save this, and then I go there and refresh, and then you can see there is also another error. So they are saying that unquote error, undefined constant in line 11. So what you need to do, you are going to say undefined constant. Okay, so I think the quotes are the ones that have a problem. So I just want to get rid of these quotes. So there is a problem with these quotes. So I just want to get rid of these quotes. These quotes there. So I just want to get rid of this. So I just want to enter the right quotes there. So these quotes are the ones that we just copied the code with, and therefore it is creating a problem. So if I save this, and then I go back to my program, refresh, boom, there we have it. So it is giving me as the output that we need. So this is I to eat yogurt. So there is no space in between there. So I to eat yogurt. So there's space. We need to put some space here. So if I will be able to place some space between here and there. So like that. So I save this. I go and refresh. There is that space that has been added in that particular case. So you just need to adjust the spacing. Make sure that you have the appropriate spacing between the two. So this one also, I be able to make sure that it has got right spacing. Okay, so I can as well be able to place some spacing here. Make sure there is some space. Make sure there is some space. And then you just save, and then you refresh. You can see it is well aligned. You can see this yogurt is not supposed to be there. So I can just be able to put some break, and then here. So after this, I can just be able to place some break. I can just say break. I can just say break like that. So you can have some break there. Yeah. So you can have the concatenation, and then you put some break here, so that it doesn't appear to be like that. So you can see yogurt has jumped down here, and that is perfect for me. So that's how you can go to run that. We have been able to cover on how you can get the values, how you can go to access the values in your index, in your array using indexes, and then you have also been able to see how you can be able to access each and every element using the for loop in this particular program. So that is all about the numeric array. So the next thing that you want to look at is basically the associative array. Now in the associative array, it's very simple. Now, associative array, we have just said that you use the strings as their indexes. So you can see this is just an example here that a string has been used in the Batman, for example. So we have created an array called suit prices, and then in this particular array we have got the index like Batman, and then this index Batman, you can see we are using the double quotation. Okay, we are using the double quotation when you are going to write the key or you are going to write the index. Then you are supposed to use this particular symbol here. So this is an equal sign and then a greater than sign. This is an equal sign and then a greater than sign combined. Then you have the value that has been mentioned here. You can see the second value is here, the second index is here, and then the value is here, and then the last one is there. Now the second one, the second method is just you can be able to write, you can be able to have the array name, and then into the square bracket you're supposed to put the name of the index. Now that's why we are using the word Batman, and then we are giving it the value that we need. But here we have some note, pointed to note. I can put it in red so that it's visible now. So we can say that when outputting values of associative array, don't put the associative array inside the double quotes. Do not do that. And when you want to output values in associative array, you don't use the double quotations. You use single quotation. Otherwise, you will not get the output. Now here we have got an example to explain what we have just been able to look at. Now here we are just saying that we have got an array called suit prices. Then we are saying we have got the array, and then we say that we are going to use associative array. That's why we are using Batman as your index, and then you're giving it the values each one of them. After that, you are going to echo out. You are going to echo this particular values. Now the bat suit costs, and then we are going to access that value. Okay. Now, in order for you to access that value, remember we are using Batman as our index. You can see we are using the single quotes. We are not using double quotes. If I use double quotes, I won't get the answer. But if I use single quotes, I'm going to get the right figure. Then after you just do that, you can go to add break so that you can jump to the next one. Then we have got another one, the green arrow suit cost, and then you can just be able to mention the suit, the price of the suit, and then you can be able to move to the next part. So if I can be able to copy this, and then I just want to run it again, so I can just copy this code, copy it, go to our VS Code, then I can just put it down here. It's array number 2. Okay. So you can see it is well there. So I don't need this because we are just using the same array, same PHP file. So I think here it's okay for me. So there is a problem somewhere. I just want to get rid of it. I think that is okay. Make sure that this one is also well aligned. So you can see it is not well aligned in this case. So I need just to push it back into that particular place there. So let me just work around it there. Make sure everything is in order. Make sure everything is in order. So make sure that it is well aligned there. Now you can see there is a problem here. So these quotations are not exactly the ones that I want. So I just need to use the right quotations. So I can just get rid of these quotations and use the appropriate quotations in this example. Okay. So I've changed all through the quotations are the ones that have some problems there, but I've been able to capture all the changes. Make sure that you use the right quotation, double quotation and single quotations. So you can see all the errors have disappeared, and my code is as new as a newborn. Okay. Now I just do this, I save it, and then I go to my browser and then I refresh. Boom, there we have it. It gives me the answers that I need. So you can see the statement, the string, the bat suit cost 4,000, the green arrow suit cost 1,500, and then the Superman is free. It cost 0. So that is exactly what the code was all about, and that is how you can be able to create a one-dimensional array using the for loops and using the associative arrays and also using the numeric arrays. So thank you so much for listening and watching this particular video. Support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. You can also turn the notification button on, bell on, so that when I create the next content you'll be informed. Bye bye for now.